Hey, I'm Steve Slater. I'm here at the Slater Strength facility, and today I'm going to show you how to make an Atlas stone using our Slater Stone Molds. So I just want to show you some of the supplies that we have that are necessary for making a Slater stone. What we're going to have here, a 16-inch Slater stone mold, which we're going to make a stone that weighs about 170 pounds. Then from there, we've got some other stuff that will definitely help us. We've got a mixing bucket, tells you how much water you need to use. We have our mold release, which is tri-flow. Our Gorilla Tape, this works really well because it's waterproof. Our shrink film, a knife, glasses, you don't want concrete to get in your eyes, a dust mask, and gloves, fibers to help reinforce the concrete, make it stronger. Our concrete mixing bag, which is really handy. And then we've just got a half of a stone mold that I use as a funnel. And this is by Quikrete. It's the Quikrete 5000. It's the high strength, works really well. This is what I've used since like day one. I always wanted to have very strong stones. For your average stone, this works out really well. Step one, we're going to take our Slater stone mold and we're going to put in the mold release. Like I said, we use tri-flow. Tri-flow's worked really well for us. I just put it in this bucket to help hold it, and I'll just spray it like this and spray the other side. You don't need to use very much of this stuff. I just grab a rag, I'll wipe it out. And you'll see the mold then gets pretty glossy. That mold release is there. It's going to work really well. So we're going to put together the mold, and you just want to make sure you match up both black lines there, just like that. And you'll notice that it's on this side, and then on this side, it may be slightly off. And what I do is just hold down and just give it a little pat like that. And then it should pop right in. And then from there, I'll turn it over. And then I just look on the inside, just making sure the parting seam is totally sealed and married together. So what's really good about our molds is that the parting seam is very minute. So you won't have, a big equator around the stone. Okay, so we have step 3, which is taping the mold together. Tape this from the top to the bottom vertically, like so. What I like to do is kind of press a little bit on the top of the mold and just run it down through. So by pressing the top, I'm really making sure I get a good seal. That right there will hold the mold together, but what I also like to do is tape horizontally. All right, so that's it for the duct tape or the Gorilla Tape. The next step, step 4, I am going to apply the handy wrap to the mold. I'll just tape a little tab right there to start with on the mold, and then that holds it in place. And then I'll just hold it like so and just wrap it tightly. Rip it like that. A little bit of Gorilla Tape, tear this in little strips like this, and I'll just put it around the pore hole like that. So that's going to hold it in place. And I take my knife, just like that. So next step, step 5, we have our wrapped up Atlas stone mold. And now you have to decide how you want to nest this. I like the 5-gallon bucket approach. That works real well. You just nest it right in there. This works for anything up to about an 18-inch. After that, you want to help reinforce by adding sand all the way up to the top and then putting it in. But still, you need to be a little bit careful because you could have several 300 or 400 pounds on a plastic 5-gallon bucket. That really doesn't make sense. So what I'll do, if I'm using a heavier one, I'll use a galvanized tub like this. But you want to nest the mold in the sand like so. Just kind of form it a little bit and work it like that. That looks pretty good right there. All right, let's get started. We're going to make the stone now. What we offer on slaterstrength.com, our website, is this concrete mixing bag. So it's really handy, especially if you're just making one stone. If I'm making a lot of stones, I'll get out my concrete mixer and use that. This is great for what we're doing here for making just a 16-inch stone. It's an extra heavy-duty plastic bag to actually tell you how much water you can use. I basically use this mixing bucket. I fill it up to the top and then add a little bit more water as needed to get the right mix. Just take your bag of concrete. We're going to open it up. I'm going to throw on my dust mask. These are the coolest safety glasses ever. Tilt the bag over. There we go. Now what I'll do is I'll put water in the bucket. And when I dump the water in, I'll work it all the way around the side. And then you take the bag, twist it up. It comes with this little handy Velcro strap, and feed it through. Now here's where the fun starts. Get your little workout in. So hold here, grab the edge here, and then you're just going to go back and forth. And then you go to the other side. And then what I'll do, I'm going to add a little bit more water, and I'm going to put my fibers in here. Per 80 pounds, I'll use about a half a bag of fibers. Just when you add additional water, just a little bit. So about 1 quart of water. I'm going to dump that in, and when I do, I'll work it around the sides again. So I can feel some lumps in the bag, or just like some clumps of concrete. What you can do is just kind of feel around, push your fist in there, and try to break up any of those clumps that are in there. And then just kind of continue on. Okay, so now we're going to fill the mold with the concrete to make the stone. A couple different options is one, if you happen to have one of our other tiny molds around, you can just put that on top. You just get strips of tape, put it on there, and just kind of tape it in place all the way around there to hold it in place. If you've got a buddy, then that buddy can help you just by holding that. In this case, because we're using a concrete mixing bag, it kind of makes its own funnel. Now, if you're using like a 5-gallon bucket and you're dumping that in, a lot of times it helps to have the other mold to make a funnel. Best way to pick up this bag is I just grab it right here. And then I'll grab here and I'll pop it up and then just brace it against my body. And pour it in. Shake it around like that just to make sure that mix settles in. I'll let it sit while I mix up another batch. Okay, so we've got the second bag mixed up pretty much. Now we're going to add the rest of the fibers. Just kind of sprinkle them in there so they don't clump up. And then from there, we'll add the last quart of water. We'll tie the bag back up. So I top it off a little bit at a time. Once I get it filled up like this, I'm just going to pat the sides so I help get the air bubbles to break up at the top. So I just go like this, and I don't want to pat it too much, just enough, just a little bit, So you'll see some of the air coming up. There's a bubble there. If you pat it too much, you're going to separate the water from the mix, and the water is going to come up to the top. Once you get done patting the sides a little bit, you'll notice that some of the mix will come up and overflow. What you don't want is you don't want a bunch of mix coming up through the pour hole on top of the mold. So you want to make sure you clean all that off pretty well. So guys, I'm back and we're going to do step 9, and that is to unveil the stone. So the tools we'll need to take the mold apart is you want a hammer of some sort, a knife to take off the tape with, and a tap stick. Normally have to just drop the stone onto something, so I have a cushion, and then I have a garbage sack. This is a little pro tip, I guess, or whatever. I just take this here, and then I'll dump it over like that. So any of the sand that drops out drops into the garbage sack and doesn't go all over the floor. Roll the stone out. I'll dump that sand back into the tub. So now what's nice about our molds is that you can roll them all over the place if you need to. You're not going to damage the mold by rolling it. I'll just take the knife, cut off the film, like that. So next we're going to just take the tape off. So now we have all the tape and we've got all the film off, so let's go ahead and unveil the stone. It helps to have a little block that you brace underneath the stone a little bit, like that. And you'll see, I don't want it all the way on that retaining ring, slightly underneath it like that. What I'll do is just brace it there, and then tap it a few times like that. So that's what the top of the stone looks like. That's not too bad. We've got some air bubbles here, which we can simply patch with our hydraulic cement. That will work really well to cover that up. So the next part is we're going to brace the bottom again. Take your tap stick, put it right on the edge of the mold, and hit it a few times, every couple inches. And there you go. This is what a nice Atlas stone looks like. Once you have the mold off, it makes good sense now to clean it up because the concrete's not fully cured. It's going to be a little bit easier to clean up. I'll just use a regular household cleaner. Just spray it on the inside. Generally, this side's pretty clean already. Because we put the shrink film on top, it's already pretty clean. But I'll go ahead and wipe her down. All right, there you go. So now the mold's clean and ready for the next pour. Thanks for watching us make a 16-inch Slater stone, and our next video we're going to show you how to make that stone perfect, how to fix any imperfections, and also how to care for your stone.